All right, friends, welcome to the lesson on probably one of my most widely used indicators above all. And I would argue it's probably one of the most widely adopted indicators by most traders and investors, not only on Wall Street, but also Main Street. So this is an important lesson. I'm going to try to keep it brief and to the point, and we're going to use an example with a lot of cryptocurrency friends' favorite coin, Bitcoin. But to know the RSI and to get familiar with it gives you a huge advantage for those that do not incorporate proper technical analysis. We're going to go through what the RSI is, what you need to look for, what's also some nuances that a lot of traders sometimes might overlook but might need to revisit. And if you're a beginner here, focus on the elementary principles first of the RSI, notably the specific levels that matter. And also, if you can, try to focus on the divergences when we start to talk about those, because it's the divergences on the RSI that sometimes matter as much as the indicator itself. So let's get started by explaining the definition. The RSI is a momentum oscillator that is used by TA guys like myself of stocks, crypto, commodities to identify changes in momentum and price action. We're going to go through a little bit of some application. In some situations, the RSI line crossing below the overbought line or above the oversold line can be seen by traders as a signal to buy or sell. The RSI works best in trading ranges rather than trending markets, but there are exceptions to that, okay? It can signal when to buy and sell. Traditionally, and that's not generally the case in cryptocurrencies, an RSI reading of above 70 can indicate an overbought condition in a security, while a reading under 30 or below indicates an oversold condition. Now, the reason the word traditionally is placed in there the way it is because a lot of times what can happen, and it doesn't have to be cryptocurrencies, but we can experience this process that's called being embedded, where an oscillator can stay overbought for longer periods of time or oversold for longer periods of time in spite of the indicator itself being above 70 or below 30. And we're going to look at some of those conditions here momentarily. So I'm going to get rid of these and I'm going to share a bonus with you guys. And I mentioned it, but whenever I put something in a box here and it has color behind it, make sure you're paying attention because that is a little bonus tip. Advanced traders are always going to be wise to find divergences and use the RSI moving average. I see countless times, friends, whether it's from professional Wall Street traders or even publications that I read from other TA experts, they do not include the RSI moving average. That is a cardinal sin. I do not believe an RSI is effective without incorporating the moving average. And I'm going to show you what that is and how it will relate to us in our trading and in our investing. So here is a chart of Bitcoin. It's a thing of beauty, especially if you bought it a long time ago, okay? But what I'm going to overlay is the RSI. But before I do, I want to show you where to grab it. You're going to your indicators, simply type in RSI. It will be saved for me in my favorites just by clicking on the star. But I've overlaid it below. And what I want to point your attention to is what I've done here is I've incorporated a few boxes because I mentioned the word being embedded a few times. You need to know first and foremost what the 70 line is, what the 50 line is, and what the 30 line is. And most all trading softwares will automatically label those for you, but you can alter them, making them more bold or making them a different color for your convenience. I choose red for 70, green for 30, and I use a white or grayish line for 50. But what you need to understand and appreciate with relative strength, all indicator movement above 50 is considered to be strong. All movements below 50 are considered to be relatively weak. So you need to know that before you even get started with focusing on the boxes. Now, it's unique to Bitcoin and to a lot of cryptocurrencies. And what's unlike the definition is there are periods of time. sometimes long periods of time where the RSI will stay what we call embedded. And I'll just write this out for you, the word, so that you can get familiar with it when I talk about it in lessons. A condition of being embedded is where you stay overbought for long periods of time, and in spite of some traders thinking it's a signal to sell, in many cases, especially in cryptocurrency, it can actually be the signal that a much larger move is coming. So what we're going to do is we're going to label each one of these particular boxes with a vertical line. We're going to go back and look at our price chart. Now we're just going to go back to 2012, okay? We're going to locate the embedded strong RSIs that we see here, and then we're going to label the weak ones, all right? Meaning where was the period of time where we fell under the 50 level, and when was the time that we got over the 70 level. So we'll mark these with vertical lines of different color so that they stand out when we go back to our chart. So we'll mark this one red because that was a period of weakness. And I'll just put this embedded here for the moment so that you know where it's at. We'll go ahead and do the red first. That way we can get this knocked out. But a lot of times the reason I'm doing this with you during the lesson instead of having it already laid out is because I want you to start to do this as a best practice. Use your indicator, start to identify where they're at on the chart, and start to identify with some type of vertical line so that when you go back and look at your chart, you can say, hey, I remember JT saying that when this condition is prevalent in the moment, we should mark these, and we can identify a lot of different things that happen during these periods of time. So I'm going to line that up, and I think we've got another few we need to line up over here. This was a very nice bullish time for Bitcoin. And we've got another time that happened here recently that actually happened to be right when we were making some pretty outsized moves here back in 24. And obviously 25 here and now are still having some nice little embedded behavior. Not so much anymore, but I'm going to go back up and let me change that to a solid line, friend. We'll do that. And it'll make a lot more sense when I get to the top. You'll be like, oh, I understand all the Christmas tree colors again. So, I always like to make colorful charts for my friends. I want you to notice something here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of the RSI for a second. I just want you to know where you see the green vertical lines and the red vertical lines, those are the periods we're going to study. So I want to ask you a question. When the RSI was embedded, for example, back here in the early 2012-13 cycle, what was Bitcoin in? Was it in a bull market or was it in a bear market? I think you know the answer to that. Bull market being price go up. It was in a raging bull market. As a matter of fact, we actually had the RSI that was embedded, but just happens as with any cycle, with any stock, you can also identify periods where you have bear cycles just by using one indicator, right? And identifying the level of where the indicator is at on its respective chart. Is it above this 50 line? First, identify if it's above the 50 line to know if you're in a period of strength, or if it's below a period of 50, if it's in a period of weakness. One thing I didn't point out, and the one thing that you should know, I like to use the RSI on multiple time frames. My favorite is weekly and daily. Weekly and daily, okay? So let's do the bear cycles first. So there was a bear cycle there. Here was another bear cycle right here. This was actually our COVID crash low, if I'm not mistaken. And then we'll come back and we will label each appropriate bullish segment. And then I'm going to teach you a couple of other things that are really important. Now, the thing about the RSI moving average and divergence is once you see them, you'll always see them. And once you start to identify them, I want you to remember that divergences on their own are merely warning signs, okay? They're not to be taken as absolutes. If you identify a divergence, okay, it's time to be bullish or it's time to be bearish. But here and now, when you look at this, all I had to do to find the bullish and bearish cycles of Bitcoin was to identify where the RSI indicator is in relation to its 50 line, the midline, 70 line, and the 30 line. And every period of time that the RSI crosses below 50, that was a bear market, period. Period. Okay. And a lot of people will say, I don't understand. You'll get it. I promise. And even the higher time frames, as you get even into monthlies, these can become more impactful for securities that have a lot more history. And Bitcoin does have enough history that we can use the monthly. But just to identify what you're seeing on the chart here and now, you can identify when to enter when the markets are bullish and when they're bearish, or if you need to leave and they get bearish. But the other thing to know, Bitcoin is unique in that most of the big periods of movement happen when the RSI is over 70. This is a little bit different than the stock market. In the stock market, a lot of times you'll see individual securities get to the 80 or 90 level, and it generally will trigger a sell warning to state that security is overbought. But I have noticed in crypto, and I'm making that key differential point here and now, in crypto, 70 is actually your go-go level. And it's important to note that. Now, let's go back and talk about the moving average. So the moving average is this little yellow line. It's easily picked up if we move this to a monthly. So I'll get rid of the drawings because I wanted to share with you at least the cycles and how cycles work. But if we drop this all the way out to a 1 month chart, it's a little bit easier to identify. The moving average is this yellow line. The RSI indicator is this bluish line that turns green shade when it gets above 70. That's just what the TradingView software does for us. But anytime you get a meaningful cross above or below the moving average, if it's below, it's bearish. Okay, so I'll label each one of these bear crosses. And then I'm going to come back and label each time the RSI made a move over the RSI moving average. So we'll do that. There are periods of time that sometimes will whipsaw you. So right here, this was your COVID low. This would have whipsawed a lot of people. So we'll mark 2 of these lines where we actually emerged from the COVID crisis and that move that took it from 15,000 down to 3,000. But these are important. So if we go back and we look at just these lines, where the RSI made a meaningful cross above or below the RSI moving average, I want you to note when the RSI breaks below the moving average, what did price do? It plummeted. As a matter of fact, this doesn't look as amplified on a logarithmic chart, but that move right there using our monthly candlesticks was a drop of well over 80%. But then when we had bullish cross, what happened? Price went crazy. As they like to say in the crypto scene, price moons, okay? And those moon cycles are large and in charge. That was a massive 87x return or 8,700% return for Bitcoin. And you can see this cycle basically replicates itself with each cross of every moving average on the monthly, okay? And it's not coincidental. I always tell people markets are like nature. They're cyclical, and there are indicators that we can use as traders and investors, like the RSI moving average, and identifying specific times of divergences when it pays to pay attention. Wouldn't you have liked to have known, right, when to have gotten out and when to have gone long Bitcoin? Because in spite of a lot of people that are hodlers, because a lot of people say, I could have held here and sold here. While that might be true and a little easier, your gains would never have been as compounded, and you would never have had to gone through crypto winter. So while some people will argue, and again, I'm speaking to the crypto crowd here, this is not necessarily for the lesson, the idea is to get the meat of the move at 7th key and to incorporate risk management. No one wants to sit in an asset that's going down 80%. That's just not wise money management. If you know when to get out and you can step aside from a downtrend, do that. And if you know when a trend's about to reemerge and you can buy it low and sell high, do that, okay? So this will conclude part 1 of the section on RSI. We're going to go and look at section 2, which will be a little bit more advanced for some that are not used to seeing them. If you have watched many of my lessons, you know what a divergence is. But if you're just starting out and you're just getting new at this, the divergences are very key components on the RSI that you need to be looking for, and those observations will help you even further to identify before a trigger event will happen, okay? So thanks again for participating in this lesson on the RSI. We'll get started with part 2 in your next lesson, and I look forward to that one as well. Thanks again, guys.